I love playing games, my students love playing games. I always try to incorporate games into my Outschool classes. They are engaging and fun for all my students, and they're all participating. And did I already mention that they're fun? Hello everyone, I'm Teacher Natalie from the edtechwizard.com. Here on my channel you will find videos all about teaching online, using technology in your classes, and becoming the best online teacher you can be. If you would like help with the Outschool process, hiring process, or the VIP kid hiring process, and you want to get started teaching for either of these companies, please sign up with an account with the link below and email me. Make sure you email me that you use my link, and I will be happy to help you, coach you through the application process and beyond, so you can start teaching successfully online. In today's video, I am going to show you 5 games that I love to play with my kids in my Outschool classes. I will show you how I play them and how you can tweak them to fit the needs of your class. Before we jump into this video though, please go ahead and download my free guide to help you brainstorm some classes to teach on Outschool. If you're interested in Outschool and want to do this but are wondering, what do I teach? Go download my free guide and it will walk you through a wonderful process that you'll have several ideas for classes by the time you are done filling out my free guide. I also have a free lesson plan template, and this template has a blank template as well as a sample lesson plan, as well as ideas for you to put into each section of the lesson plan. And you can use this lesson plan for several different class types on Outschool. So be sure to check out the description box down below to get those free guides. The first game I want to show you is called Kaboom. This is one of my favorite games to play, and my students really enjoy it too. So I use this game for math, but you will be able to use this for other topics as well, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So what we do is I have a cup full of popsicle sticks. Now on my sticks I have math facts written on them, and then I also have a stick called Kaboom. So I go in order as I see students on the screen, that way I don't forget anyone or mess anyone up. I just go in the order as I see on my screen, and everyone gets a turn. So I pull out a stick, and if it is a math problem, and I'll hold it up to the screen for them to see, and I always read it out loud in case it's blurry, and then they solve the problem. If they get it right, I'm going to put it in a pile for them, and then I move on to the next student. If the student who needs to answer gets it wrong, I always help them answer and try to get the right answer. But if they absolutely get it wrong, then their popsicle stick goes back into the cup. You want the most popsicle sticks at the end. You want all the sticks. And so we keep going, and I also have in here Kaboom. So if I pull a stick out that says Kaboom for student, then I have to put all of their popsicle sticks back in the cup. And we keep going, and we keep going. So this game does last forever, so I always put a 5-minute time limit on it. Otherwise the popsicle sticks, they're just going to keep going back in there. They're never going to run out. So put a time limit on this game. And by the end, whoever has the most popsicle sticks is the winner. So that's Kaboom. Now I have mine, and I always hold the cup up so I cannot see what I'm pulling out. I don't see what's going on. So I pull it out, hold it up, and the student reads it. Now you could do this with letters, and the student has to say the letter, or they have to say the sound. You can do it with math facts, multiplication facts, simple division facts. This game is meant for students to be able to answer quickly. It's a fast game, so it works best with problems they answer quickly. Now you can put any of your questions, you could write it on an index card and place it in a bag or in a cup or in a hat that you are pulling from. You could also use this with sight words, with just letters, anything fast will work really well. And this game works well with any sized group. So if it's just me and one or two more students, this game works, as well as with a bigger group of students. So that is the game Kaboom. Game number 2 that you can play with your students on Zoom is called Find a Star. Now I have this here that I made. So it has the numbers 1 through 12, and behind some numbers I have a star. So what students do is, this happens throughout my lesson. So students will then pick a number. If it's one student, then that one student is picking numbers throughout the class. If it's a group of students, then I will call on each student and I'll make sure everyone has a chance to pick a number. So their job is to pick a number to find a star. So if they find a star, we celebrate, yay, you found a star. And then I just leave that number off. And then if they pick a number, no star. And we just keep going throughout the lesson. So it depends on how many students you have, but I do try to make sure every student has at least one chance to find a star. So that's at least 5 or 6 times if I have a full class. Now, the point of this one is to be a motivating factor for your students, to reward them and give praise for the good work they're doing in their class, to encourage them to keep going. And it's just a fun break for my little students to just take a little small brain break, do something fun, and then quickly get back to our lesson. I use the game Find a Star in my ongoing classes and in my private tutoring classes. And I use it mostly with my younger students. Now, there are several ways you can do it. Or play this game. That's why I love it. Find a Star is so versatile. So in my ongoing classes, I use it as they are finding stars. Then at the end, we count up the stars, and then I can keep a running record of the stars they're earning. So as a group, maybe they're earning 20 stars, and then we get like a dance party, or you can draw for the last 5 minutes of class. They get to work up to earn something. I use this in my one-on-one tutoring classes as well. Because it's one-on-one, they love that extra encouragement and reward to keep working hard and to break up the lesson. And then the same thing, once they add up or have found so many stars over the course of so many lessons, then they can buy something with their stars. Dance party, they can draw, something that interests your students. In bigger groups, it's fun to play teacher versus student as well. So how I do this is students are trying to find the stars, and I get points for any animals they find. And the students are the only one picking the numbers because I know where they are. So students pick for me as well. So if a student picks number 1, they find a star, that goes a point for them. If a student picks number 3, they found an animal, I get a point for me. And then at the end of the lesson, we tally up. Maybe the students found 2 stars throughout the entire lesson, and I found 1 animal. Students win, they found the most stars. I love using the digital version of Find a Star as well, because I find it's more easy to customize it to what my students are learning. So I can switch up the stars for animals. I can switch them up for colors or numbers. So I created a digital version in Canva. So let me show you. Here we are in Canva, and this is the digital Find a Star that I have created. Now you can see the digital one has 20 numbers. You can change how many numbers you have. You could have 9, you could have 10, whatever fits the needs for your class and your age group. So I play this the same way. If students will pick a number, they pick 2, and I move it and I find an animal. They pick 7, there's another animal. 12, there's another animal. I can move it off to the side. Now when I use the digital version, I am going to share a portion of my screen. And if you want to figure out how to or know how to share just a portion of your Zoom screen, be sure to check out my video and I'll walk you through how to do that. Sharing a portion of my Zoom screen allows me to still move these numbers. If I just hit present mode and shared my whole screen, I won't be able to move these numbers. And when I am done using it, then I just click the back button or Control Z and it will put it back to where I want it to. So this is my Find a Star, and this is what my board looks like underneath all of my numbers. So with Find a Star, I can quickly, easily duplicate this whole page, and then I can switch this out. I can switch it out for a math problem. Maybe under that number they're looking for math problems and they have to solve that math problem. Or it's a letter, they have to say the letter or give me the sound, or it's a number they have to tell me. So I can tweak it to fit the needs of my class, and so they are still learning while we're taking this quick brain break. So this is Find a Star. While we are in Canva, I want to show you a couple other games that I play that I've created on Canva. So this first one is just a board game. It's a simple board game. You play it just like a board game. So with my board games, I usually use it with math, but again, you can use it with sight words, letters, numbers, anything. So I will get out my cup again and I will just pull out a stick. Students will give me the answer. So one student goes at a time, they'll give me the answer, and then I roll the dice and it will tell them how far they go on my board, and just one student at a time. So just like a normal regular board game. I created this board game by searching in Elements and just type in board game, and it will bring up a couple of templates for you to use, and I just picked one. This is the one I picked, and I just put it on the page, and then I could add my words to it to move forward, finish. I could add that to it. Now the animals are on the side. These are my students' characters. I let a student pick an animal, and that is who they are on my board game. And you just move them back when you are done. Now a fast tip: when you use a board game, I want my animals to be able to move on my board, but I do not want to accidentally click on anything else to move it. I want everything here to be locked in place. So what you're going to do is highlight everything you want to be locked. Now I don't want these animals to be locked in there, so make sure you don't highlight stuff you want to be locked. So there's my whole board game. It's going to highlight my words and everything when I drag my cursor across. And then you can see up here in the corner it says it has a lock box. Right now it says unlock. If I unlock it, now I can individually move. Oh, that one's locked individually. So I went and individually locked stuff. But my board game is not locked anymore. I don't want to accidentally move it. So just make sure you lock it in place. Here is another board game that I created just from a template from here, the board game, and I'll move it and I would play it just the same. And there's another one I've created. Now this one is a little different and it's a lot of fun. This one is called Race to the Moon. Race to the Moon is fun to play because it allows everyone to answer the question at the same time. If we're just playing a board game, we are taking turns answering a question or reading a word. And if you have a big group of little kids, then you have little kids waiting for their turn. They have to wait they have to read a word, and then they're waiting 5 more kids' turns. And that could be a long time for a little kid, and you're starting to lose their engagement and participation, and who knows what they're doing in the screen. That can happen. So with Find or Race to the Moon, students are answering the question at the same time. So same concept, I'm pulling out a stick, or I'm verbally giving them a question, or you can write on a board game, you can write the question right there on the board game. As they move, they have to answer it. So they read it, I give out the stick, and everyone's answering at the same time. So if I say, what's this word? Everyone's answering at the same time. Or if I hold up a math problem, I'm giving time for everyone to solve the math problem. And then I count down, and then I have everyone shout out the answer at the same time. And then everyone is moving. So if they get it right, they move up a spot. So this game allows us to answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. And then once they reach to the top, they win, and everyone is a winner. If they don't answer the question correctly, then they don't move. So I really try to listen when I have everyone answer at the same time, but usually they get the answers correct. And then you can let your students pick what spaceship they want, or you can have a totally different theme for it. Maybe it's ocean themed, or you're reaching for the stars, or you have to find the dinosaur. Any kind of theme works for this. And game number 5 for games you can play on Zoom is called Sparkle. This game works well when students are trying to memorize something. So memorizing the multiplication facts, or spelling of a word, or certain parts of the alphabet. So here's what we're going to do for Sparkle. I use this game in my classroom for multiplication facts. So I have all of the count bys here for 2s. You could also have a letter for a word. If you're working on spelling sight words, then you're going to have a 1 letter per word. So yours could be, 3 letters long for the word the, THE. If you're working on the alphabet and you've taught A through G so far and you want to review it, make sure students understand it, you could have the letters A through G here. So with Sparkle, you take turns with students, and it works the best if you have 3 or more students to play this game. And I always play with my students in this game. So 1 student at a time says, so 1 student says 2. The next student will say 4. The next student will say 6. So each student's taking a turn saying a number. And again, I'm going in order of how I see students on my Zoom screen. And with this game, I have to say their name. Because their order, how they see themselves, is probably not the same order as I see them. So I will say Molly, and then she knows it's her turn, she'll say her 2. And I always put my cursor on that number that they're on. So everyone takes a turn. Molly, 2. And James says 4. And they go on till we reach the end. So if I say 24, it's back to Molly's turn. She's on the star. She says Sparkle. Now she's safe. She says Sparkle. She's good. It's the person after her. So James was after Molly. James does not get a point for that round. Everyone else will get a point. The person after Sparkle does not get the point. And then I erase numbers. So I will erase 12. I'll erase 20, and I'll erase 6. And then we start over, and I always have someone else start. So maybe the person who was after James would go first. So now they start with 2. And the next person says 4. And the next person has to say 6. Even though it's missing, they have to say 6. And the next person says 8. And we go and go and go until the last person, it says Sparkle. and then I erase more numbers. And then we go and we keep going until we're out of time, or you can keep going until all the numbers or letters are erased. It depends on how you play it. This can be depending on how many spaces you have and how many you erase each time. Sparkle could be a fairly long game. So sometimes with my students, I don't make it to erasing all the numbers, and that's okay because it can be long, especially if a lot of students. So Sparkle is a great way to practice those fast math facts. You could practice spelling of a word, any kind of memorization. I hope you enjoyed this video and have found a game that you can try with your students. So leave a comment below. Let me know which one you are going to try in your Outschool classes. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's video, where I will talk about a virtual game that is really fun to play with your students. Lots of fun. So I love games. I love incorporating them. Students love them. So use some games in your classroom. See you next week.